She was the face of one of the biggest hits of the 90s. Of the Night exploded on the radio and took over the dance floors. The beat was addicting, the chorus stuck in your head, and that woman with the iconic braids became a symbol of an era. Her name? Corona. For years, it seemed like everything in her career was all about sparkle, rhythm, and success. But not everything was as it seemed. Behind all that recognition, there was a secret. The voice that captivated millions wasn't hers, and for a long time, no one knew who was really singing. Over time, the fans started getting suspicious. Questions began to emerge, ones that the media avoided answering. Who was the real woman behind Corona's image? How is she today? And what does she have to say about being called a fraud? Today, you're going to discover the hidden truths behind the Corona project. Corona, stage name of Olga Maria de Souza, was born in Rio de Janeiro in 1968. Music was always in her DNA. The daughter of musicians, she grew up surrounded by notes and melodies. Her mother played an important role in her upbringing and encouraged her to take ballet classes, even in the face of challenges and racial prejudice. As a young woman, Olga dreamed of exploring the world beyond Brazil's borders. In the late 1980s, she set out to explore new opportunities and spent around 3 months in the United States, hoping to launch a career in black music. However, she had to return to Brazil when she ran out of financial resources. In the early 1990s, after taking advice from the soccer legend Pelé, whom she met through friends at a nightclub, she decided to try her luck in Europe. Dreaming of fame, she quit her job as a bank employee and stepped into a new chapter. In Italy, she found herself in the spotlight. She appeared on television shows with the group Lambada Brasileira and stood out for her charisma and stage presence. In her own words, "I didn't struggle. I've always been lucky when it came to work. I danced, did theater, and worked as a radio host. I threw myself into it. I talk a lot, I have an afro look, and people would always say, 'You're so tall and funny.' That helped me with auditions. I always got through. But I never expected to be this successful. We always think it's going to happen to someone else, never to us." Olga says she was discovered singing at a nightclub by the producer Francesco Limaro, who invited her to join a new music project. From that moment, her life changed forever. In 1993, the name Corona was chosen, and she became the face of the music video for The Rhythm of the Night, a hit that quickly took the world by storm. The success even surprised the label, and the track topped the Italian charts for 13 straight weeks. In 1994, a remixed version reached second place on the UK charts. By spring of 1995, the single had taken over US clubs and climbed to 11th place on the Billboard Hot 100. From 1994 to 1998, Corona lived an intense schedule of performances, to the point where she said she didn't even have time to go to the dentist. She became so well known that she started hosting TV shows in Italy and France. During one of those trips, she met her current husband, Gianluca Milano, Italian and owner of a restaurant in Rome, who gave up everything to join her on tour and became her life partner. After Rhythm of the Night, more hits followed, including Baby Baby, Try Me Out, I Don't Want to Be a Star, When I Give My Love, and The Power of Love. Although her media presence declined by the late 90s, Olga never left the stage and remains active to this day. In the 1990s, Eurodance took over the world. Italy became one of the main hubs of the movement, with several groups achieving global hits, Corona among them. Back then, little was known about the artists behind the music. The public just wanted to dance and collect the CDs that sold by the millions. But with the rise of the internet, secrets that were once hidden began to surface. For commercial reasons, many producers chose to put more marketable faces in front of the cameras, while the real voices remained behind the scenes. It was common for charismatic models who fit industry beauty standards to lip-sync in music videos and TV performances, while the true singers, talented but outside the mainstream world, stayed anonymous. This strategy helped sell millions of records, but it created a world built on appearances. When it came to Corona, Olga Maria de Souza was always the face of the project and the one on stage, but her voice on the studio albums was replaced by professional singers. On the first 3 albums, The Rhythm of the Night, Walking on Music, and Me You, the lead vocals were recorded by artists like the Italian Giovanna Bersola, Jenny B, the British singers Sandra Chambers, Sandy, and the American sisters Natisse and Bernadette Jones.
Inside your soul to know the things that you need and feel.
At the time, some attentive fans noticed vocal differences between the releases and began to question who the real singer was. In interviews, Olga claimed the rumors were unfounded, spread by people bothered by her success. Over time, she began to address the topic more openly. She has subtly admitted that at the beginning of her career, she wasn't a professional singer, but always made it a point to sing live during her concerts. It's true that starting with Me You, released in 2001, Olga began receiving vocal credits, although she still shared some tracks with backing vocal singers. In 2006, she released the single Back in Time, considered the first hit featuring her original studio-recorded voice. Even though she didn't record the original hits, it was Olga who gave Corona its soul, face, and stage presence. As she once said, "We always think success happens to others, never to us. But this time, it happened to her." And Corona is still fondly remembered around the world. Even decades after her biggest hit, Corona has remained in the public's memory. In interviews, Olga has pointed out that, in addition to live concerts, her presence on the internet and TV programs helped keep the name alive among both old and new fans. After releasing her 3rd album in 2000, she took an almost 10-year break from music production, which sparked curiosity about her whereabouts. In 2013, she started a new project and released the singles Queen of Town, Stay With Me, 2014, and We Used to Love, 2015. Olga chose Italy as her home and has been living in Rome for decades with her husband, Gianluca Milano. Today, Corona is still active and performs at nostalgic 90s festivals and events. Now 56 years old, she continues to bring her energy to the stage and celebrate the music that marked generations. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a like and drop a comment below. There are more videos like this on the channel, filled with surprising stories about your favorite celebrities. Thank you for staying with me until the end. See you next time.